we're gonna be here for 4 hours. So it starts off with Johann Schmidt, Hydra leader, going into a crypt in Viking ruins and taking the Tesseract. So basically, there's a bunch of explosions. Hydra agents come in and start shooting someone. Is that how it starts?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it right.
Steve Rogers is recruited by a scientist to become a super soldier. So they do an experiment on him.
And it works, thus turning him from a scrawny Brooklyn kid into a soldier with super strength and super speed. And so basically, he becomes a marketing tactic to get people to serve in the war. But it kind of backfires and people start throwing fruit at him, like tomatoes and stuff like that.
Later on, Steve finds Bucky and has a showdown with Johann. During the mission to take down the Hydra scientist, Bucky supposedly falls into his death.
And Steve and Schmidt then have a final battle, but Johann is teleported somewhere after touching the Tesseract.
Mm-hmm.
Johann is Red Skull, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I know him more by Red Skull, so. And Steve then takes the ship and tries to crash it somewhere safe, but he realizes that he can't do it without killing a bunch of people. So he crash lands it into the ice.
Which 70 years later, scientists dig him up and he gets recruited by Nick Fury.
So this leads into everything else. So we meet Captain Marvel as she is a Kree warrior.
While on a mission for Ronin and
The Accuser. She's captured by the Skrulls, a race which the Kree are at war with.
She escapes in a crash that lands on Earth and attracts the attention of S.H.I.E.L.D.
We learn her human name, Carol Danvers. We also learn of her past and how she's tested a plane powered by the now recovered Tesseract, which later led to her powers and how she got them. So,
Yes.
Yeah, we'll explain that. And she then learns how evil the Kree are from interactions with the Skrulls and her getting kidnapped by them again.
And they were being killed just because they wouldn't submit to the Kree.
Which means that the Kree are actually the bad guys. Which means she's been fighting for the wrong side.
Yes.
It's kind of classic for like most superhero bad guy movies.
Yeah. Well.
So they find a ship in outer space, which is actually a person. Which is actually a person in this laboratory named Marvel. So in Captain Marvel's past, she has this person who is like her boss named Marvel. She's secretly a Kree, and she also found out how evil the Kree were, so she started working against them. And her laboratory is in space, and that's where the Tesseract and the Skrulls are hidden.
Yes, they find the ship containing some last remaining Skrull, as Riley said.
Yep.
They're attacked, but she turned off the machine, limiting her powers. And she gives the Tesseract to Fury, which the Flurgan cat eats.
The Flurgan is a cat-like creature. Well, actually, it's cat.
It's more like a squid because it has like tentacles that will come out of its mouth.
When it opens its mouth, like, except for when it meows, that's fine when it meows. When it like forcefully opens its mouth, the tentacles shoot out and just swallow everything. It's really kind of gross at first, but then as it goes on, it's really cool. So, and then more Kree come on and start attacking, and they realize that they're gonna have to either kill them or escape, and in the end they get captured by them.
And she gives Fury a modified paper which he will later use in Infinity War. Pager.
So she gives it to him after they come back down to Earth, having won against the Kree and destroying most of Ronin's ships.
In the end, and In the end of the credit scene for Captain Marvel, you see the Captain Marvel responding to the pager's call,
which Fury activated moments before he was snapped. Like that. Billionaire,
genius,
playboy,
philanthropist,
all of this and more sums up Tony Stark,
also known as Iron Man.
After a weapons presentation in Iraq, one of Tony Stark's own weapons landed near him and exploded, filling his chest with shrapnel.
Needing to escape, he miniaturizes and dons a suit of armor. This resulates the birth of the armored Avenger Iron Man.
So, basically, first he gets knocked unconscious, and then he wakes up with the car battery attached to his chest. He can't leave with the car battery because otherwise he would die. So instead, he miniaturizes it, turns it into an arc reactor, and puts that in his chest instead, which stops the shrapnel better than the car battery.
Once returned safely, Stark works to perfect his design and uses it to protect all mankind.
So he escapes the cave in which he's trapped in with the Mark I Iron Man, which is huge and clunky, not exactly great for getting around, but it does do the job.
This activity catches the eye of the mysterious organization known as S.H.I.E.L.D.
So, Agent Coulson basically comes in and kind of tries to protect him. But Tony Stark ends up thinking that his first name is Agent. This kind of tells you how genius he can be sometimes.
Yeah.
No offense.
Tony announces to the world that he is Iron Man,
after he was specifically told not to by S.H.I.E.L.D. But, knowing Tony, he does it anyway.
I mean, he is narcissistic after all.
That's true. So, in the end, in the end credit scene, you see Nick Fury talk to Stark about the Avengers Initiative. Okay, so this next movie is The Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk has little importance to the future of MCU, and all you need to know is that Hulk was created on accident while the scientists were trying to make sure humans were resistant to gamma rays, and he escapes and goes on a lot of rampages. Tony's life source, aka the arc reactor, is actually poisoning him due to a certain chemical.
The U.S. government also wants his tech.
And, even bigger plot twist, someone's out to kill Stark. That someone is Ivan Vanko, son of Anton Vanko, who worked with Tony's father, Howard Stark, but Howard then sent Anton to Russia after he committed treason.
Ivan tries to kill Tony Stark at the Grand Prix in Monaco, but Ivan is then arrested.
Tony's rival, Justin Hammer, helps Vanko escape from prison and hires Vanko to create suits similar to Tony's.
Tony's also assigns an assistant, Pepper Potts, as CEO of Stark's Industries.
It's now up to Tony to defeat Ivan Hammer and fix his arc reactor before he dies. We learn of an ongoing war between Asgardians and Frost Giants, and Thor will soon inherit the throne of Asgard from his aging father. However, on the day he's supposed to get the crown, Thor reacts brutally when the enemies of the gods, the Frost Giants, enter the palace in violation of their treaty.
As punishment, Odin banishes Thor to Earth, while Loki, the brother of Thor, plots a mischief in Asgard.
Thor, now with no powers, has to face his greatest threat, Loki, which is the king of the Frost Giants. You actually found this out, didn't you? Like, that was his name.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just called him the Frost Giant King, basically. Kind of weird. And he gets his powers back and returns to Asgard, which all of you huge fans know is a giant palace in the cosmos. Made of absolute gold.
When Loki gains access to the unlimited power of the Tesseract, Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., initiates a superhero recruitment protocol to defeat the unforeseen threat to Earth.
The unforeseen threat to Earth is Loki and his army of aliens. I don't know what they're called. They're like these huge flying dragon-like things covered in gold armor.
Joining Nick Fury's team are Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, Thor, the Black Widow, and Hawkeye.
The army Loki brings is defeated when Iron Man sends a nuke into the portal opened by the Tesseract.
They defeat Loki, and the Tesseract holding the Space Stone is sent with Thor to Asgard.
In Iron Man 3, Tony has developed PTSD after saving New York from destruction.
Tony Stark now is more dependent on suits that give him his Iron Man persona, so much that every aspect of his life is affected, including his relationship with Pepper.
After a malevolent enemy known as the Mandarin reduces his personal world and home to rubble, he fights him only to realize that the Mandarin is a cover story.
Piper falls into fire, but is saved.
You said by her newfound power.
Pepper fails into the fire, but is saved by her newfound powers.
Tony initiates a clean slate protocol, meaning all of his suits are destroyed. In ancient times, the gods of Asgard fought and won a war against an evil race known as the Dark Elves.
The survivors were neutralized, and their ultimate weapon, the Aether, was buried in a secret location.
The Aether is like a giant puddle of evil that has its own mind. It can move around and possess people. Hundreds of years later, Jane Foster finds the Aether and becomes its host, which then Thor is forced to bring her to Asgard before the Dark Elf, Malekith, captures her and tries to use the weapon to destroy the 9 realms, including Earth. When Tony Stark starts a dormant peacekeeping program, things go terribly wrong, forcing him, Thor, the Incredible Hulk, and the rest of the Avengers to reassemble.
As the fate of Earth hangs in balance, the team is put into the ultimate test as they battle Ultron, a technological terror hell-bent on human extinction.
Along the way, they encounter and recruit 2 mysterious and powerful newcomers, Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, who have harnessed the power of the Mind Stone. Tony then makes another robot known as the Vision, and Pietro dies.
After the catastrophic event in New York with his fellow Avengers, Captain America lives in the nation's capital as he tries to adjust to his modern times.
An attack on a S.H.I.E.L.D. colleague throws Cap into a web of intrigue that places the whole world at risk. Joining forces with the Black Widow and a new ally, the Falcon, a normal person with a pair of robotic wings.
Roger struggles to expose the ever-winding conspiracy about Hydra's reign with his S.H.I.E.L.D. as their rival. But he and his team soon came up against an unexpected enemy.
Basically, Hydra secretly got into S.H.I.E.L.D. Nobody knew it, and then they started attacking and almost killed Nick Fury.
In 1988, Peter Quill's mother dies from cancer. Then he runs outside to get away from the pain. Later to get abducted by some aliens.
Mm-hmm. 26 years later, Peter Quill goes to a planet named Morag to find the Power Stone, which is one of the 6 Infinity Stones.
When we then meet the Roman Accuser as the henchman that tell
Ronan the Accuser. You said the Roman Accuser or something like that. That's what it sounded like.
His henchmen tell him that he failed at getting the Power Stone. He gets mad that he was planning on trading it to Thanos because in return Thanos would decimate Xandar.
Gamora, an adopted child of Thanos, volunteers to track Peter down. Peter then goes to Xandar to sell the orb for credits, but the buyer refuses once he hears Ronan's name.
Once he leaves the shop, Gamora jumps him and tries to take it while a nearby Rocket Raccoon and Groot join in.
The 4 of them are arrested by Nova HQ and sent to a prison named Kill. That's nice. Okay.
Thanos instructs Roman to track down Gamora, who has been flagged a traitor, and gets the orb from her.
They escape jail and find another buyer. They get to a space station known as Nowhere and meet a buyer known as the Collector.
He calls them in the shop and explains the Infinity Stones, but his assistant grabs the stone, which explodes his shop, and they decide it's only safe in Nova HQ.
Drax calls Ronan as he's tired of waiting to kill him, but Gamora gets stranded in space after Nebula took the stone and left her to die. So Peter gives her his oxygen mask, but Yondu, Peter's adopted father, finds them and saves them.
Ronan puts the orb in his hammer, and he plots to destroy Xander by himself.
Peter warns Xandar of Ronan's visit to destroy the planet. They start a giant battle, and all of Nova HQ form a connected force field in which Ronan's ship blows up in.
Rocket crashes through the ship, seemingly killing Xander before he makes a tree ball to save the Guardians, but it kills Groot.
Ronan appears from the rubble, but Peter grabs the stone with his bare hand, but he's able to hold it once the other Guardians join in and share the blunt force of the stone.
They kill Ronan using the power of the stone that Rocket grabs the twig from Groot's remains.
They give Nova HQ the stone and are rewarded with a new ship. They learn that Peter's only half human and the other half is something that they haven't seen before.
Pym CEO David Cross reveals that Pym that he has cracked Hank's secret shrinking particle formula and has used it to design a miniaturized suit, much to Hank's horror.
Secret shrinking particle formula is something that Hank Pym calls Pym particles. Voice is slow, yeah. Scott tries to steal something from a random old man as the scene extends, and that something turns out to be Hank's Ant-Man suit.
Scott, who is desperately disappointed in the big job, yelled nothing but some old motorcycle suit, starts fiddling with the suit and eventually puts it on. He punches the button to the glove and shrinks down to nothing.
While in the suit, he gets recruited by Pym through a voice call.
Pym's daughter Hope watches, horrified, as Cross finally succeeds in shrinking a living organism, a lamb. Cross has almost completed his discovery and ability to weaponize his yellow jacket suit.
Hank finally tells Hope that her mother died when she disabled the controls on her Wasp suit and went subatomic.
After his nasty training, Scott goes out of his first mission to receive one of Hank's inventions from the Avengers faculty. He encounters the Avenger Falcon and beats him using his suit and newly acquired skills.
Cross shows up unannounced at Hank's house, nearly discovering Hope and Scott and the blueprints they're using to plan the heist of his yellow jacket suit.
Cross captures Scott, Hope, and Hank. He then shoots Hank and escapes with the yellow jacket suit. Hank survives the being shot.
Cross threatens Scott's daughter Cassie, and they engage in a full-blown battle in miniature.
Scott goes subatomic and infuriates Cross suit and destroys him. Scott is now trapped on the subatomic level for several minutes until he figures out how to grow back to full size.
Scott makes up with his ex-wife and daughter and continues his association with Hank and Hope. He also arrives at the lab to find that Hope has a new Wasp suit.
Peter Quill / Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket Raccoon, and Baby Groot are standing on the platform as they try to secure Anulix batteries from their last employers,
The Sovereigns.
The Guardians have their weapons ready as they gear up to battle an interdimensional beast known as the Obelisk.
They battle the monster except for Groot, who's jamming out to tunes. As they fight it, Drax realizes that he can't kill it from the outside, so he lets the monster swallow him.
Star-Lord notices a cut on his neck and tells Rocket to go look at it. Gamora then slices the cut even deeper and Drax spills out.
Rocket steals batteries and they return to the Sovereign and tell them the job is done.
They meet the High Priestess and in exchange for batteries, they give them Nebula, Gamora's sister. Aisha then talks down to the Guardians, to Peter in particular.
She notices that he is half alien, half human, and thinks he's kind of reckless.
When they travel to Xander, and stopped by the fleet of submarine ships, they find out Rocket stole batteries.
So basically, Sovereign shows up, stops them, and they find out Rocket steals batteries, which makes them really mad. And another man appears and destroys all the ships. The Guardians get away, but must crash land on a nearby planet.
On another planet, Yondu and his Ravengers are staying at a hotel where Howard Duck is staying.
Yondu runs into his old Ravager pack, and the leader challenges him.
Meanwhile, back at the Guardians, they're examining the damage to their ship when the ship that saved them shows up. He announces himself as Ego and Peter's father.
They go into a ship and they talk to Mantis, who reads their minds. When she reads Peter's, she tells them that he has feelings for Gamora, which Drax finds hilarious.
When they get into this planet, they are amazed at how big and different it is.
We see back to the Ravager's ship, where Yondu and Rocket have been placed in a cell, and Groot tries to find what they're looking for.
Peter learns that Ego had many children, but none of them had the same power.
Peter just so happens to have the power he was talking about, which is how he survived holding the Power Stone in Volume 1.
Ego also has to tell Peter that he put a tumor in his mom's head so they start to fight.
Ego is put to sleep by Mantis as Groot goes into the planet brain with a bomb, which will self-destruct in 5 minutes.
The tomb goes off and Ego's human form and the last planet start to blow up.
As they're stranded in space, no planet's oxygen to breathe, Yondu puts his spacesuit on Peter, and Peter watches him die. That's sad.
The rest of the Ravengers give Yondu a proper Ravager burial, and a lot of Ravager ships show up and pay their respects.
In the post-credit scene, we see Aisha talk about a creature in a pond, and she names it Adam, aka Adam Warlock.
After the Avengers defeated Ultron, Thor and Hulk are nowhere to be found. Hawkeye has gone home to spend time with his family. Even Iron Man apparently disengaged. Captain America and Black Widow are leading a new team of Avengers, consisting of Scarlet Witch, Vision, War Machine, and Falcon.
During a mission to kill a Hydra operative, the agent blows himself up, but Scarlet Witch is able to use her powers to push him away from the market. But she messes up and throws him into a building, killing people in the process.
They learn 11 people died in Lagos. The UN and 117 governments are planning on making a document called the Sokovia Accords.
These accords will limit superhero use to only when the government called on it.
Stark wants a company while Steve wants to fight against the Accord.
Steve then gets a message that Peggy Carter has died. Peggy Carter was one of his friends from...
We meet T'Challa and Vanna and his father, the king of Wakanda.
An explosion then rips through the building, killing King T'Chaka. Steve sees this on the news and learns that Bucky was the one who sent the bomb.
Steve finds Bucky at his apartment and they have a fight with the military. They get to the street and met a Black Panther and they start to chase after each other, all of them being the same speed until an explosive knocks them down and they start to fight.
The military surrounds them and Black Panther removes his mask, revealing that he is T'Challa.
The weapons are confiscated and they're all arrested but let go.
Hawkeye breaks Wakanda out of Avengers HQ where she was held. Hawkeye breaks Wanda out of Avengers HQ where she was held due to her not signing the Accords.
Bucky is freed when Hydra agent busts him out and Cap takes him. Falcon and Bucky are added to a safe house.
Cap, now fugitive, assembles a team consisting of Bucky, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, and Ant-Man.
Spider-Man is introduced as a part of the MCU when Stark goes to recruit him for a battle against Cap.
Stark now forms a team of his own consisting War Machine, Black Panther, Black Widow, Vision, and Spider-Man to arrest Cap's team.
The two teams meet in German airport, which ends in Vision shooting a laser beam which missed Falcon but hit the War Machine instead, crippling him.
Once Tony sees that Bucky was framed, he tells the other members of Cap's team, most of which are incarcerated.
Tony tracks Bucky and Steve down to the faculty, holding the Hydra scientist from earlier in the movie.
The scientist is named Zemo, and he shows them security footage of Bucky killing Steve's parents. That is something Stark didn't know, so he gets mad.
The three fight and end up in Cap disabling Stark's suit and Cap abandoning his iconic shield. Cap and Bucky seek asylum in Wakanda, and the movie comes to a close. It starts with Spider-Man filming in Germany airport Civil War battle while acting like a vlogger.
Later, he finally returns home and tries to live a normal life, staying as a more friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
He tries to discover who he really is.
He then crawls through a window after he battled people wearing Avengers masks, only to find Ned sitting on his bed.
Ned is his best friend, and as a best friend, he helps Peter Parker out to keep his secret safe.
Later on, he goes to this homecoming with the girl he likes named Liz, and soon to find out her father is a villain by the name of Vulture. Tomb later on disrupts Parker's homecoming dance, and he destroys the bus in the parking area, leaving Peter stuck under a huge rock.
Peter screaming in terror for help, thinking he is going to die.
He finds himself and finally sees himself as more than Spider-Man, referring to earlier in the movie where he said, "I am nothing without my suit."
Then he lifts up the rock and finally goes to defeat Tomb. Dr. Stephen Strange was a neurosurgeon who he was loved until he got in a crash.
When he was at the physical therapy center, he met a patient who was wise and helpful lady who healed him.
Dr. Strange goes out searching for her when he gets cornered into the alley, soon to be rescued by the Ancient One.
Soon to find out she was the wise lady the man had talked about before.
She explains the magic to Strange and the magic she used to save the man, and he didn't believe her, so she showed him.
After he saw the magic and the other universes, he asked her to help heal him, only to be thrown out and rejected.
He soon becomes a student of the Ancient One and studied under her ring.
Mr. Strange becomes curious of what the books he is not supposed to read, so he steals the books and learns a trick called astral projection.
One night, when the Wrong appears to be out of the library, Strange learns how to use the time-shifting pendant, the Eye of Agamotto, which embodies him to see the missing page from the book.
During this fight, he gets a cloak, which leads him to the Time Stone.
Dr. Strange then uses this Time Stone to defeat
Chaosius. Dr. Strange then earns the right of the Time Stone and the cloak.
Thor trapped Surtur and his crown and finds Loki disguised as Odin.
Doctor Strange is introduced as part of the MCU when he is introduced to Thor and Loki as they find Odin on a cliff in Norway moments before his abrupt death. Mjolnir is then destroyed by Hela, Thor's sister.
Thor and Loki are sent to Sakaar, which has Hulk on it, and we meet a race of Asgardian warriors known as the Valkyrie.
Thor can finally use lightning as a weapon and doesn't need his hammer, which he learns in a fight with Hulk on Sakaar.
We learn that Banner has been stuck as Hulk for 2 years since Age of Ultron, and Thor is unable to turn Hulk back into Banner through a video of Natasha, which was taken during the events of Ultron.
Thor, Valkyrie, and Banner escape from Sakaar and arrive on Asgard.
Thor and Hela fight, and she cuts her eye out.
She cuts his eye out, and Thor is able to fully harness his power and use it to fight.
Thor sends Loki down to Odin's vault and puts Surtur's crown onto the eternal flame, but
While he's down there, he grabs the Tesseract, which will come to play in Infinity War.
While being reborn, Surtur destroys Odin's castle as he grows. He and Hela start to battle. Surtur sends his blade into Asgard, which explodes himself, Asgard, and Hela up.
Moments later, Thanos and his army arrive to get the Tesseract.
We meet Killmonger as he steals a vibranium axe.
T'Challa is then crowned king.
Claw is captured and Killmonger takes Claw back before he kills him.
He then brings Claw's dead body back to the Wakanda in order to challenge for the throne and wins.
Though T'Challa was thrown off of the waterfall, he is saved and they battle again with T'Challa winning.
T'Challa opens Wakanda to the world and he makes an embassy in America.
In a post-credit scene, you see Shuri give Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, a vibranium arm. Okay. 1987, Janet Van Dyne goes subatomic to slip between the metal plates, but she accidentally went into the quantum realm.
Scott has been under house arrest since Civil War due to him fighting alongside Captain America until Hope breaks him out.
They go to get a component needed for the quantum tunnel.
Hank uses his old suit to go into the quantum realm to look for Janet. Scott can now go big without dying.
Hank is able to find Janet and get her out of the quantum realm.
Scott is released from house arrest.
And while on a mission into the quantum realm, Hope, Hank, and Janet are killed by Thanos' snap, leaving Scott stranded in the quantum realm. The film opens with Thanos' ship attacking Thor's.
Loki is revealed to have taken the Space Stone as he fakes giving Thanos the Tesseract, but Hulk attacks Thanos before he can put it in the gauntlet.
Heimdall is killed after he brings a defeated Hulk home to Earth.
Loki is then killed in front of Thor for real this time. He didn't fake it.
The Dark Order arrives in their ship, which alerts Spider-Man.
Hulk won't emerge due to him being afraid of Banner, leaving Banner stuck in human form for the entirety of the movie.
Peter Parker joins in the fight to protect Doctor Strange from Ebony Maw, and he receives the Iron Spider suit.
The Guardians of the Galaxy go to intercept a distress call from Thor's ship, which we heard during the opening of the movie. Thor smashes into the ship as he was floating around in space, and they bring him on board because he's still alive.
Rocket, Groot, and Thor head to a forgery to make Thor a new weapon.
Vision is snuck up on by Corvus Glaive and stabbed, but they manage to get away before Wanda's ambushed by Proxima Midnight.
As they are cornered, Captain America, Black Widow, and Falcon arrive to help Vision and Wanda.
Gamora is taken by Thanos from a location known as Nowhere.
Meanwhile, Doctor Strange has been being tortured by Ebony Maw to give over the Time Stone.
Iron Man then confronts Ebony Maw and shoots a hole in the ship, bringing Maw out into space, killing him and saving Doctor Strange. And Iron Man makes Peter an Avenger.
Gamora finds Nebula torn apart as she gets tortured until Gamora tells Thanos where to find the Soul Stone on Vormir.
Thor arrives on Nidavellir, but finds it was shut down when Thanos came to get his glove forged.
Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange arrive on Titan as they are ambushed by the Guardians because both sides think they work for Thanos, but they agree to work together.
Doctor Strange looks into 14,605 future outcomes, and they only win in one.
Thanos and Gamora arrive on Vormir to find that Red Skull is guarding it, but Thanos has to kill Gamora to get the stone, which he does, and he gets the stone.
Cap and his team arrive in Wakanda to meet T'Challa and Bucky.
Thanos' team then arrives with a portion of the circular ship being sent into the shield. Cap is also given his own shield.
Everyone is on the ground fighting off the minions while Shuri takes the stone out of Vision.
Thor is able to use the star to forge his hammer, which Groot cuts off a part of his arm to be the handle for.
The Avengers are getting beaten and are about to die just as Thor arrives and he saves everybody.
Back on Titan, Thanos arrives to find Doctor Strange waiting for him. He and the others fight Thanos as Nebula arrives.
They almost get the glove off of him, with Nebula putting him into a trance and every part of him getting restrained, but Peter Quill learns that Thanos killed Gamora and he punches Thanos, getting him out of his trance.
We cut back to Wakanda, where Corvus Glaive sneaks up on Shuri right after Wanda went down to help the Avengers, which leads to Vision getting dragged outside.
Iron Man and Thanos end up fighting ending Tony getting stabbed by Thanos with a piece of his own suit, but Strange gives Thanos the Time Stone to save Tony.
Thanos then arrives in Wakanda with him being able to easily defeat all of the Avengers, but Wanda destroys Vision Stone, simultaneously holding back Thanos. Sadly, Thanos then brings Vision back with the use of the Time Stone, which he rips from his head, killing him in the process.
As he puts it into his glove, Stormbreaker rips to the sky and stabs Thanos in the chest moments before he says, "You should have gone for the head."
Thanos then snaps. It kills a long list of people consisting of T'Challa, Peter Parker, Doctor Strange, Bucky, Wanda, almost all of the Guardians except for Rocket, Shuri, and finally Nick Fury, which we later see in the end credit scene.
Shuri doesn't die.
Yeah, she does.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, she does.
She does?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What?
I'll just cut this part out.
Okay. We then see Thanos at his farm, his arm burned from using the glove. In the end credit scene, you can see Nick Fury dying to the snap, but not before calling Captain Marvel. Okay, so this is Thor.
reel it.
I have to go back because, like,
We're recording another
I have to record this
episode.
podcast. I really have to be there.
Come
That's
here.
so heartbreaking. Cat needs to grow up.
Freaking out, like, oh my god.
Anything? I flipped it.
Doesn't know his own words.